Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly pop culture wrap-up. That's right everybody, the weekly pop culture wrap-up is the show where I go over the week's pop culture news, mostly comic books and movies, and let's get right into it. Big comic book news this week, surprising comic book news. Conan the Barbarian is returning to Marvel Comics. Of course, Marvel was the first company to publish Conan comic books back in 1970, and they did so for 30 years until the year 2000. They published 650 comic books during that time, various miniseries, ongoing series, and specials and one-shots and all that jazz. So Conan is now returning to Marvel because at 2000 it went over to Dark Horse Comics. Dark Horse did a lot of cool stuff. Kurt Busiek had a really nifty run on Conan, so did Brian Wood. But now it is returning, homecoming, if you will, to Marvel Comics. Kind of excited about this news. I've never been the hugest Conan the Barbarian fan, I'll be honest with you. I'm not big into that big savagery, fantasy, barbarian type stuff. But having it come back to Marvel is a good deal because I'm not trash talking Dark Horse Comics. I love Dark Horse Comics. Hellboy, Black Hammer, a current one from them. Great stuff from Dark Horse Comics, but their licensed properties start off really strong and they get weaker over time. They lose momentum and they just become very mediocre and just whatever. I'm talking about Aliens, I'm talking about Predator, Star Wars, right? So when they lost the rights to Star Wars and Marvel got Star Wars back, Marvel got to refocus some really good talent on the book, and Star Wars books have been really healthy ever since, and really, really good. Actually, in my opinion, a lot of the Star Wars stuff now is beautiful. Gillen's Darth Vader, Thompson's Captain Phasma, even the Poe Dameron books, some good stuff. So I think it's a good idea to take the reins back over to Marvel, and they can get some top-tier talent on Conan the Barbarian, make it a big deal again, make people pay attention, and maybe make way, I don't know, to a movie that will be successful. That would be really nifty. Who would I pick from Marvel to do a Conan the Barbarian book? Donny Cates and Mike Deodato Jr. That's what I would do. Absolutely. I think those guys would just nail it, knock it out of the park. Of course, Jason Aaron would also do a really good job on a Conan book, I think. I don't know. Who would you pick to do Conan the Barbarian at Marvel? It's coming in 2019, so we still got about a year left until it happens. But it's going to happen. Who would you like to see do it? Let me know in the comments down below. Moving on, Tom King has announced at DC and DC, the event going on right now this weekend, that there is a new comic book coming out from him at DC Comics called Sanctuary. And I am all down for this one. It's about the effects of violence on the superhero community in the DC universe. So you're talking about the biggest, most iconic DC characters meeting at a place that they're able to go to and discuss the violence they experience and how that affects their lives, mentally, physically, and so on and so forth. I think it's a great idea, really nifty to see. We all experience mental troubles, and those of us who have been exposed to excessive amounts of violence tend to even have more mental issues dealing with it. It's hard to deal with that. It's not something that we're used to every day, right? This is a big tribute, King says, to all the veteran centers where veterans can go and discuss openly the effects of the violence that they have experienced and seen on their psyche, on their own lives. So it's kind of like that, but it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be I think it's a great idea to have like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, and all of the rest discuss the violence of their lives and how that affects them personally and mentally and spiritually. I think that's a great idea. I think kudos off. Tom King has been doing amazing work. Mr. Miracle is one of the absolute best comic books of the year. The Vision was just a revelation of awesomeness. It was amazing. It was brilliant. The Omega Men, his Batman work, really good stuff from Tom King. Tom King himself has a background in the CIA in the Middle East. He was exposed to a lot of stuff that he has seen, and it comes across in his comic books. It's something important to him. It's something important to a lot of people. I think it's a great, bold move for DC. I think it's the right move. I think it's really exciting, and I'm super pumped to see that when it comes out. Do you remember those Marvel lenticular covers? So there was this whole big ordeal about the lenticular covers, and retailers had to jump through crazy hoops to get them. The Marvel Legacy ones I'm talking about. They had the homage covers that would flip back and forth. So a lot of retailers didn't carry them because they didn't want to over-order on books they knew they couldn't sell just to get these crazy special covers that the customers would pretty much probably just buy those ones and not the regular covers they had to over-order so much of anyway. That's a whole other video in itself, and I think I've already done that a couple times. Retailer incentives could kill the industry. That's not what we need. That's not what will boost sales. I think they need to focus on story, character, action, and fun. That's what I think comic books need. I think DC is kind of doing that right now, and Marvel's kind of meandering around. They don't really quite know what to do. So they have all these leftover lenticular covers, apparently, because a lot of retailers didn't jump in on that, right? So they offered them to retailers saying, hey, we got a big sale, we got all these left over, you can buy them. Well, the retailers who did jump through all those hoops to get those issues for their customers, they didn't like that very much. So, of course, Marvel then canceled that whole thing. They were like, oh, we're not going to do that. Don't worry about it. Well, Bleeding Cool has pointed out that in upcoming retailer invoices, there are surprise Marvel variants that are going to be given out for free. It is suspected these are the lenticular covers. So basically Marvel just has all this stock. They don't know what to do with it. They're just going to give up. And Marvel realizes the mistake they made with the lenticular cover fiasco during Marvel Legacy. That's why they have rectified it with Guardians of the Galaxy 150, Phoenix Resurrection #1, and of course Avengers 675, making them available to everybody to order as many as they want. So just a heads up, you may be seeing some of these lenticular covers come through your comic book shop. So if you missed any and you wanted some, for instance, I missed Marvel 2-in-1. Really wanted to get that lenticular cover, so I'm hoping maybe I can get a hold of a copy of that without having to go online, which I should do and just haven't done yet. Anyway, so that's exciting. Speaking of Avengers 675, the lenticular cover, that was a great one, right? That came out this week. If you read it, you know there's a new character who has been inserted into Avengers history named Voyager. Voyager, a la the Dawn character from Buffy the Vampire Slayer or the Sentry from Marvel Comics before, injected this character into. She's a founding member of the Avengers. Nobody remembers her. We don't, but all of a sudden all the characters know who she is, right? So who is this character? Well, apparently her real name is going to be Valerie Vector. I thought about it. It's Valeria. It's Valeria Richards from the Fantastic Four. Think about the Marvel Legacy book, right? It was narrated by Valeria, by Val, and she says that she wants to go back home. And Val it seems like she's wanting to be a superhero, right? Would she not inject herself into the Marvel Universe, maybe do some tricksy things with Franklin, change reality, create herself into a new character, Valerie Vector? I don't know. It's just an idea. May not be true, but it just might. And I just wanted to get that on record here on video, on YouTube, so if it does happen, I can be like, hey, look how right I am. And if it doesn't happen, I'm just going to ignore it, right? Anyway, that's what I think. Valeria. It seems kind of obvious, so maybe it's not really what's going to happen. I don't know. Maybe. John Ridley, right? John Ridley. Yeah, John Ridley, who is the writer of the screenplay 12 Years a Slave, which won an Academy Award. He's done some comic book work for DC and Vertigo. He's got a new comic book coming out called The Other Side, or The Other History of the DC Universe, just announced on Friday, I believe. The Other History of the DC Universe is going to focus on heroes. Oh, so the original history of the DC Universe was by Marv Wolfman and George Perez. It was this very ambitious retelling of the DC history post-crisis in a really streamlined kind of way. History of the DC Universe was great. So this is the other history of the DC Universe. This is going to be through the eyes of some characters from the marginalized groups in society. So you got John Stewart, you're going to have Vixen, you're going to have Supergirl, you're going to have Renee Montoya, and a whole lot more. So these characters, all these big DC events through their eyes, and it's really going to deal with the socio-political ramifications of these events in the DC Universe. I think it's a great idea. John Ridley is a very talented writer. He's an Academy Award winner. So it's going to be really exciting to see this happen. It's supposed to be coming out next winter, so we got a long way to go, but I think it's a cool thing. And characters that don't typically get spotlighted that much, or when they do, it's kind of in a weird way. I'm really excited to see what Ridley does with like John Stewart and Renee Montoya. Two great characters that I absolutely love and adore. So that's kind of exciting to me. Talking about DC Comics, speaking of DC Comics, Brian Michael Bendis, of course, has jumped ship from Marvel to DC Comics, and I wish him the best. Hope he's feeling good and getting ready for the future, because I am so excited to see what he's going to be doing. Well, apparently his first DC story will be in Action Comics number 1000. It's even going to be illustrated by Jim Lee. So I think it comes out in March, if I remember correctly. Action Comics 1000, going to be a big deal. Got Bendis and Lee doing his first story for DC. Well, he did a story back in the day, way back in the day, but his first new story for DC is going to be in Superman. It's going to be Action Comics 1000. There's also a big rumor right now that Bendis and Ivan Reyes, they're going to be doing Superman, that they're taking over Superman from Gleason. So we shall see what happens with that. I didn't think that Superman was going to be quite the right fit for someone like Bendis. I thought maybe The Flash, Green Lantern, I thought those would be more appropriate fits as far as the big characters go. I'd love to see him do some work with The Question, absolutely, especially with Alex Maleev. That would be amazing. But Bendis on Superman with Ivan Reyes, I could be into that. And I always thought Ivan Reyes should be the artist on Superman because he's a superstar. He got great textured artwork, highly detailed, very realistic, but still comic booky and big and explosive. He's like a modern day Neil Adams, I swear. Reyes has some great work. Kind of excited to see if this is the case. It may not be. It's just a rumor, right? But I just wanted to talk about it. So that's exciting. Wizard World, who does all those crazy conventions, they're in danger, keep losing money. Just wanted to briefly mention that. Wizard World was neat because it was a way for a lot of smaller markets to have big time type comic book conventions. You don't really get to go to New York or Chicago or San Diego, but you're able to go to Nashville, you're able to go to Philadelphia, you're able to go to Atlanta, you know, wherever they were. I've been to quite a few Wizard Worlds. Those have been pretty much my only big time con experiences. Had great experiences though, meeting Henry Winkler, Jason David Frank, Bruce Campbell. I went to a Wizard World in Chicago back in the early 2000s, met a lot of comic book creators that is just great, like Brian Azzarello, Mark Waid, Adam Kubert, Andy Kubert. Adam Kubert actually bought a Galactus out from under me, but that's a story for another day. It was an action figure from the 90s. It was good stuff. But so Wizard World, though, they're kind of in trouble. But there are a lot of smaller cons that are now starting to pop up and get even bigger. For instance, here in my hometown, Huntsville, Alabama, we got the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo coming up at the end of February. PCP will be there. We're going to have a booth, probably running a panel, I hear, or two. We got Austin St. John, Johnny Young Bosch, Kevin Sorbo, Fabian Nicieza, Mark Bagley, Joe Rubenstein, Mike Zeck. Oh my goodness, right? It's going to be a great weekend. If you're in the area, you should come. And you can come see us and say hello and introduce yourselves to us. We'd love to see you there. So keep that in mind. The Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo here at the end of February in Huntsville, Alabama. Venomized is a book by Cullen Bunn coming out in April. It's going to be a weekly series. The story that started with the poisons in Venomverse is going to continue into the Poison X crossover between X-Men Blue and Venom, and it's going to finally wrap up this trilogy of stories with Venomized. And I'm kind of excited because I'm in Venom Overload, and I just want it to be all done. And just a new writer, new team, new focus, whatever. Let's get to some movie news, right? And TV news, because the first thing I want to talk about is some TV news. Just heard Cosmos got picked up for a second season by Fox. Finally, Neil deGrasse Tyson doing a new version of the show that was spearheaded and created by Carl Sagan, one of my absolute personal idols. Love Carl Sagan, love the original Cosmos, loved the new Cosmos. Really excited. Took a long time, but very excited to see a season 2 be announced, and it's coming, and it's awesome, and science is cool. We love comic books. You like science, right? I don't know. You should. I think so. Science is awesome. Cosmos is great. If you haven't checked it out yet, I don't know if it's still on Netflix or whatever, but you should definitely check out Cosmos if you haven't already. Bruce Timm says he just is about to, I think Gotham by Gaslight's about to come out, about to hit any day now. I don't know exactly the date. But he expressed an interest in doing Superman Red Son. Superman Red Son was a really fantastic Elseworlds tale about Superman if he landed in Russia and was raised by the Russian communist state, and how history in the DC universe would have been different if that happened. It's a great book by Mark Miller and Dave Johnson. I'll throw a link down below to pick up the comic book if you've never read it, because it's seriously one of the best Superman stories ever. Probably outside of Kingdom Come, the best Elseworlds tale, even though Kingdom Come's not technically an Elseworlds tale, I don't think. But so that's kind of exciting news. I think Superman Red Son would make a really good animated feature from DC. Absolutely. So Joe Morton, who played Cyborg's dad in the Justice League movie, has said that as far as he is aware, the Cyborg movie is still happening. So a lot of people are worried about what's going on now because Justice League was kind of a failure, even though it made some money. It did, but it's kind of lackluster, including my opinion. You can check out our movie night that we did, our movie review. I didn't really like Justice League that much. It had some bits that I thought were neat and cute and fun, but overall I didn't really like it. And now it's kind of in danger, like, oh, what are we going to do? But apparently they're still doing the Cyborg movie. It's going to be an origin story, all the stuff that got cut out of Snyder's Justice League. So we shall see what happens with that, but I'm down for a Cyborg movie. I think that could be a really cool idea. Speaking of DC movies, The Batman is going to be done by Matt Reeves. That's always up in the air. Apparently, it is going to be a standalone movie outside of the DC Extended Universe on its own, like that Joker film that they announced, which leaves it open for them to recast Batman in there and not really take away from the Affleck thing. Apparently the rumors are that they want to give Affleck's Batman a send-off, maybe in Suicide Squad 2, hopefully not, or Flashpoint, which I think would be more appropriate, but we shall see what happens with that. But it would be a way to recast Batman. But what happens if they recast Batman in this movie? And he's awesome, right? Whoever they cast, and we watch it, we love it. And then Ben Affleck leaves the role of Batman. What happens then? Do you get this guy to jump into the DC Extended Universe? I don't know. I think they're kind of away from the Extended Universe thing. I think they're going to focus on some solo films, kind of maybe do what they should have done, to be honest. To be honest, maybe they should have just copied Marvel. I don't know. I hate to say that, but maybe that's the case. Anyway, that's the weekly pop culture wrap-up. Let me know in the comments down below any comment you have about what I said or what I didn't say. That's exciting. What do we have coming up here at Pop Culture Philosophers? We got a brand new podcast. It's going to be out on Wednesday called Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, all about travel movies and the modes of travel to get to places. It's about planes, trains, automobiles in film and TV, and of course our top 5 is going to be top 5 favorite travel/road trip movies. Not movies to watch while you're on a road trip, but movies about road trips, movies about travel. So that's kind of exciting. Got that one coming out. We got a Nintendo podcast coming out right after that, talking all things Nintendo. If you want to hear your answer on our social media segment on that show, comment below. What is your favorite Nintendo game? From any system, from any year. Doesn't matter. What's your absolute favorite Nintendo game? Some of the best answers, some of the coolest answers, we're going to be reading aloud on that podcast. Don't forget, we got a brand new show that just launched, replacing movie night. It's Movie Monday. Every Monday, a new video talking about a different movie. We're going through the Marvel Cinematic Universe leading up to Infinity War. The Iron Man video is out right now. The Incredible Hulk video is out right now. And we got Iron Man 2 out on Monday, tomorrow. So check that out. It's going to be super fun, really cool stuff. So that's what we got coming on. In the area that I live in, there looks like there may be some bad weather, snow, maybe, possibly on Tuesday and Wednesday. So I just want to let you cats know that there is a chance that this week's weekly comic book review will be delayed. Just a chance. But if it gets snowed in and shipment gets delayed and we're not able to get to the shops and we're not able to get into work, if that happens on Tuesday into Wednesday, it's going to delay the weekly comic book review. But I guarantee you, I aim to get that video out as soon as I can, as I always do. I always put it out as soon as I can, just because I really appreciate you guys and your support. Love talking about comic books, movies, TV, pop culture. Love talking about it with you guys here in the comments down below. Let me know, like I said, what's your favorite Nintendo game and who do you want to do the Conan the Barbarian comic at Marvel. Thanks for rocking with us. Don't forget to check us out at popculturephilosophers.com for podcast blogs, top 5 lists, and a whole lot more. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Keep on reading.